And welcome back to another new episode, the final episode of the Mets March to October. And we're in the World Series. This is it. Mets versus Mariners. Mets in our first World Series since 2015. Mariners in their first World Series ever. The rundown, the plan for today's episode is we're going to play through the entire World Series, no matter how long it goes, how many games it goes. But then after that's done, make sure you stick around because I plan on doing a full stat recap, diving into all of our players' seasons, how good we did and all that. But the sole focus right now is on winning this World Series, and sure, we're 7-1 up to this point in this playoff run, but there hasn't really been a single easy game. Every single one of the 8 games has at least been close. We've had 6 of our 7 wins have been save situations that we've had to pick up. Diaz with 5, Bummer with 1. The other win was a walk-off starting the inning down a run, and then obviously we have a loss. So every single game has at least been close. So I'm not expecting to just steamroll over the Mariners to win this World Series. I can't consider it an easy matchup just because they're the 6th seed, because we just had a hard-fought series with our league's 6th seed. But speaking of them being the 6th seed, we are going to take a little bit of a look at what their team is looking like, and we can see right here already they're a pretty high-ranked team. 9th overall in terms of player ratings. Taking a look at their starting lineup here, they don't have a ton of like super high-rated players, but they're pretty solid throughout, except I don't know what's really going on in that 9 hole with Tommy La Stella. But you got Ty France, big contact rating. He hit for power also, 23 bombs over the season. Julio Rodriguez, the star of the team, had good progression, hit 34 bombs, stole a lot of bases too. They got Teoscar, who's going to hit bombs. Suarez is going to hit bombs. Honestly, the last 2, though, haven't hit as many as I thought. Pollock, scary to face it with a lefty on the mound. Cal Raleigh, scary to face with a righty on the mound. Everyone's hit a solid amount of home runs, too. But then Tommy La Stella, I guess he actually had a pretty good season by the numbers. Not too scary of ratings, but a solid season. And then with who they have on the bench, I'm assuming this lineup, yeah, it's going to look a little different. They've got Sam Haggerty and Tom Murphy both in to face the lefties. We won't have to worry about this, though, I guess. We don't have any lefties in that starting rotation throughout this playoff run. And their pitching also looks pretty solid. Luis Castillo at the top of this rotation. He's going to be tough to hit. Didn't really have all that great of a season, actually, though. 4.25 ERA, not many strikeouts at all. And he kind of gave up a lot of home runs. So, seems like we just got to be patient, wait for our pitch against him, and if I put a good swing on it, it should go. George Kirby also didn't have that great of a season. Wow. 4.41 ERA, not very many strikeouts at all. A lot of hits allowed. 245 hits allowed. Logan Gilbert, 85 overall on him also, and he's had the best season yet. ERA under 4 at least. Robbie Ray's only an 80 overall. I wouldn't have thought that. I thought he must have regressed, but he didn't really regress. Must have been stuck in the minors for most of the year because he only made 6 starts. Didn't have a great ERA in those 6 starts, but you can't always judge that. Their bullpen is all righties except for Marco Gonzalez as their long reliever. But Penn Murphy's got a high hits per 9, sinker slider combo. He doesn't throw the sinker that hard, doesn't throw a fastball that hard either. But I could see him being difficult. I know Matt Brash is going to be difficult because I know he kind of has a bit of a weird delivery. And both of these guys have had good seasons too so far, under 3 ERA. Diego Castillo's always going to give me trouble. Sinker slider on him, throws it hard. Also an under 3 ERA for the year. Justin Topa, same thing, even though he doesn't have a high overall. He's got 99 velo with an outlier sinker, at least no, it doesn't have outlier. Still a hard sinker though. Didn't pitch in the regular season. Paul Sewald, even though he doesn't have the toughest pitch mix, he does have 99 hits per 9, so it's going to be the smallest possible PCI we're going to see. He blew 9 saves over the course of the year though, even having a 2.67 ERA. And then their closer is Andres Munoz. Doesn't have a sinker, but he does have outlier on that fastball. Big slider, big hits and K per 9 numbers, an ERA under 2. This is actually a low-key scary bullpen. Statistically, throughout this playoff run, it looks like Julio is having quite the playoff run here. 20 hits, 6 homers. He scored 14 times, 345 average. Colton Wong's actually also having a pretty solid playoff run. Teoscar's doing pretty decent. Sam Haggerty's look like a bit of a problem in the games he plays. So that's even more of a reason to be scared having a lefty out there. And then Tommy LaStella. I'm sure it's kind of a platoon between him and Haggerty, and LaStella's actually doing pretty solid. Not great. Seems like they're pretty top-loaded, though. They're kind of being carried by Julio, Colton Wong, and Teoscar, with a little bit of extra production from Haggerty and LaStella. But everybody other than that, I'm sure they've had their moments hitting home runs. I'm sure that's definitely contributed. But in terms of like batting average and stuff, not really anything to worry about a ton. And their pitchers have been pretty good too. Luis Castillo has a 3-0 record with 32 innings, and he has an .84 ERA. Logan Gilbert with a 245. It looks like starting pitching wise, those are the only two doing really good. I mean, George Kirby 442 isn't that bad for just a couple of starts. And then their bullpen looks like it's also been pretty solid. Penn Murphy, no runs allowed, only 1 run allowed each for Munoz and Castillo. Matt Brash, couple solid innings, I guess. Paul Sewald hasn't given anything up. So yeah, man, not a team to take lightly, especially when they are as hot as they can be right now. They went down in the championship series against the Yankees 3-0. They came all the way back from down 3-0, won 4 games straight to get here. So not only are they kind of playing with house money, being the 6th seed making it all the way here, but they're also playing with a lot of momentum. But we're ready to go here. We're ready to hop into game 1. It should be a Senga versus Luis Castillo start, and that makes sense because it is 0-0 up to this point in the 6th inning right now. There's 1 hit to 3. We have the home field advantage, so the first 2 games are here at home. And here we go. Lindor ready to lead it off with a runner on first. Castillo 73 pitches deep, but a lot of energy. I guess there's not a ton to look at when it's 3 hits to 1 hit like this. Their 1 hit, though, came from LaStella. Castillo has 8 punch-outs right now, only 5 base runners allowed. Our 3 hits have come from Marte, Pete, and Brandon Nimmo. Got a couple walks on the board. And Senga has only given up the 1 hit with 6 strikeouts. No walks either for him. He is twirling a gem. Wow, and a couple of pretty nice pitches at the bottom of the zone to steal an 0-2 count right away. I said when we were looking at him, it seems like the best plan would be to wait him out, wait for our pitch, but he's kind of just coming right after me. Now, we still got a good pitch to hit. If I would have just moved that PCI up a little further, I was all over that. At least I'm ready for the heat in the first at-bat of the day. At least I wasn't way behind that. Oh, and Nimmo. We're going to keep the tradition going of grounding into double plays. So many double plays I've grounded into in this playoff run already. I did not want to start out with another one in our first inning. Look at how much energy Senga has, though. It looks like he's only pitched 2 innings based on that energy bar. And, oh, Pete actually knocked it down. That is a play right there. Keep the leadoff runner off base. And then next pitch, we got the rollover grounder to third. I missed my spot there and left it right down the middle to Julio. Meter almost messed me up there, but that is a quick 1-2-3. I mean, man, Senga already had a ton of energy left, and he goes out, and that was like a 6 or 7 pitch inning. He definitely can finish this thing if we give him the run support, but Castillo keeps stealing strikes here, man. Every single pitch I've taken so far has been a strike right on the edge of the zone. Oh, and I didn't really want to swing at that, but I tried to check swing way too late. Can't even really complain about that. If you're pressing to swing as late as I did, they're always going to make you go around. Jeez, dude. This first game here is moving by quick. Everybody, we're both throwing pitches in the zone, and nobody can hit them. Man, he just went 3 straight fastballs that caught the meat of the plate, middle away. and I fouled 2 off and then popped that one up. This is very different. This whole playoff run, for the most part, I've been able to wait out the opposing pitcher, work the count, get walked maybe, at least get to a point where I can see a good pitch to hit, but Castillo's keeping everything right on the edge, and we just did what we don't want to do and allow a leadoff base runner. Oh, I took a risk there, went 3-2 slider. The risk was throwing a ball and walking him, not hanging the slider, which I kind of did. Either way, we're lucky to sit him down. Okay, we got Pollock popping up. I would have liked him to roll over that a little better, maybe turn 2. Yep, we're going to hang up there and play that on the bounce because I hung that forkball on 0-2. Lucky that's all that happened. Yeah, Cal Raleigh with his power, hanging a forkball middle in like that and getting a perfect swing. I am lucky that we're not down 2-0 right now. Oh, and he really... How did we miss the spot on that Senga, buddy? How did that even get to a 3-2 count to begin with? It's the 9-hitter. It's La Stella. Why am I not going right after him? Dude, and I am just barely. That is 0.03 seconds off of being perfect, and they're calling it a yellow release. And we're missing by that much. That one... That sucked as an inning. We might be able to cut him down here on a perfect throw. All right. Not as bad as it could have been. Only the 1 run allowed, but we really did not want to allow a run right there. That's kind of crazy, though. That is at least 3 outfield assists in this postseason run by Marte already. And that's only in the parts of the games that I've played. I don't know what he's done up until that point. Wow, I actually thought I was on that. That had to have been the movement on that sinker that got me. Yep, moved the PCI too far to the right. Timing was good. Timing was good there too, but I'm hitting it on the ground, dude. And McNeil doesn't have enough power for a swing that's not a perfect to do anything, so that's another 1-2-3. And just like that, we're down to our last inning in this one. I don't know, man. Maybe not the best move with how he kind of fell apart, but there's so much energy left on Senga that I'm just going to leave him in. Gonna give him a pretty tight leash, though. Okay, there we go. Pretty nice slider on a 2-2 count to get the weak grounder. There's 1. First pitch rollover from Ty France. That'll be 2. I think he's done that in both at-bats we faced him in. And I'll take it. He destroyed that, but right to Pete. Senga gave us a full 9, and it looks like they're going to Luis Castillo to finish it on their side. We got 3, 4, 5 coming up. Castillo is over 100 pitches deep into this start. Energy is finally starting to get lower. We have a chance here. Come on, Pete. Get through it, Will. Great swing there on a circle change. It gets through, and Pete's on first again. And I don't know. I've declined a pinch run for Pete a couple times already this postseason. I feel like it's worked out pretty much every time. But there's something a bit stronger telling me I should this time. It's 62 speed with either Pham or Escobar. That's the fastest we have right now. So I'm just going to go Escobar because he can play first base if we need him to. So we're going to get enough speed out there on first that we should be able to score on a ball in the gap. I guess that's not certain with Julio out there, but it gives us a better chance. No! What? Oh, that did not even look like it was going to be close to me, and that was... He's like 112 pitches deep, and he's throwing a pitch perfectly like that. My God. No, what? That sinker keeps getting me on the movement. I'm timing it up. I'm just not moving the PCI to the right spot. Nimmo still could have done something for me. You could have helped me out and hit that harder anyway. Hap, I don't think that's going to get over his head. Look at that. The exact same type of thing. Pulled off on the sinker. Didn't recognize the break. We get a 120 pitch complete game shutout thrown against us in game 1. What a pitcher's duel, though. I mean, that was like a 1904 game at its finest. Dueling complete games and a final score of 1-0. We did not want to drop game 1 like that, but That came and went very fast. It's only game 1 though. We've got plenty of time to recover. I'm not feeling worried yet. Nobody's going to be as tough as Castillo. See, the difference in those complete games is that they let Castillo go until he was pretty much out of gas. Senga still had a lot of energy left. So Castillo, that could screw him over in the long run if he can't pitch in game 5. Because, you know, if we just win the next 4 in a row against their non-Castillo pitchers, there won't even be a game 6 for him to pitch in. And you know what? One of these times also, we have to have our pre-game sim portion actually put us in a favorable spot. The best it's done for me is give me a 1-run lead with like a runner or 2 on base and nobody out for the other team. Every single game, my offense has done nothing for us before we load in. So there's got to be a point where they help me out a little bit. Hopefully this is it. Nope. I mean, they helped me out a little bit. Gave me a 1-run lead, 2-1 lead. But again, they have a runner on and only 1 out. But we're going to go into it. It should be Verlander out there on the mound. 5 1/3 innings in. 6 hits, 2 walks allowed, only the 1 run. It's a rainy day. You gotta imagine late October like that, it's gotta be cold. This has gotta suck. What do we have though? What's gotten us here? Ty France has gone deep for them. A 2-for-2 day for La Stella. Maybe I should stop bad-mouthing him. Their players either have 2 hits or no hits right now. And George Kirby out there for them. He struck out 8, only giving up 4 hits. Our 9-hole hitters also going off though. Brett Beatty 2-for-2 with a double and a bomb. Hap has a triple, and then Francisco Alvarez is stealing bases. I don't know how I feel about that, but we're sticking with Verlander here. He actually doesn't have quite as much energy as I maybe would have thought for this good of a start at this point. And there we go, 3-pitch punch out to get our second out of the inning. And we're going to get Pollock flying out to center on the slider. So we get out of it, maintain our lead. Got to build on it now. And there's another really good swing, and we're not going to get a hit on it. That's the best one yet. Pete, though, that's another hit for him. Okay. Is he actually the only player I've gotten a hit with so far in this episode, and he's got 2 of them? Lindor, please. Okay, at least it won't be 2. It won't be anything. Just out of reach enough that all he could do was knock it down. Really was worried that was going to be just another double play. That's just way too good of a pitch. I was fully prepared to let that go, and it wasn't until the very last second it looked like it might have ended up in the zone, and it would have. That would have been perfectly on the edge for strike 3 if I don't swing. And what is that? What do I think he's throwing? 108? Okay, Hap gets hit. He always gets hit, it seems like. On a 2-2 count, I'll take it. Mark Canha, bases loaded. I know he's got a good clutch because last time we checked, he hit a go-ahead home run. Oh, and I almost again. Look at that swing. Timed it up. I was just barely under it. I thought it was going to break more. I really would like to find an inning where I can actually bring these base runners around to score. All right, we got him way out in front of that change. Good first out. Okay, there we go. They are not going down easy here. A lot of foul balls for these first 2 hitters of the inning. Verlander's down into the yellow at the top of the order coming up. I think one way or another, this is going to be his last batter faced. Either he gets out of it and gets through the inning, or he gives up a base runner. But either way, that's going to be it. And it looks like it's going to be because of the base runner. Nimmo can't quite get there. At least it stayed in. At least we already have 2 outs. Just got to get 1 more out, and that won't turn into anything. And it is actually technically a better matchup to bring in a righty to face J.P. Crawford right now, because Crawford has less power against righties, and with a runner on second, it'll be the clutch rating the same both ways. So I'm going to Ryan Stanek, which this is actually his first appearance of the postseason. We've had so many good starts out of our starting pitchers that one of our better relievers is just now making his first outing. Come on, man. You just got to throw strikes, though. You just got to get Crawford out. There we go. Big swing out of the zone on a splitter. And then we got him on the slider. Great job from Stanek to get the one out. Clean up the inning. 1-run lead still maintained. Come on, man, Alvarez. We got to get him going again. He had such a good division series against Miami, and then he cooled off big time in the championship series, and then they're not going to let me check swing when I barely tap the button. And then he's got a sinker too. Maybe it's just the sinker in general I'm not seeing today. Beatty, come on, drop in. There we go. He picks up his 3rd hit of the game. Hanging curve, you'd like to see a much better swing and result than that, but it's still a hit. Can't complain. Marte, that's going to get through. See, we can get our base hits. We can definitely hit singles and get walked and whatnot when there's nobody on or one runner on first. It's from this point on that we need to do something and get the big hit. And McNeil, he's going to deliver. I'm sending him home. I'm going to keep Marte at second, but Beatty's going to come all the way around to score, and McNeil finally comes through. Somebody comes through with runners on. Huge insurance run there, and we're not done yet. And that's going to take George Kirby out of the game. We're finally getting to that bullpen, and it's Penn Murphy. First one out of that bullpen. Only took, what, 15 1/3 innings before we finally saw their first relief pitcher. I guess it was the same thing for us. We actually made it an extra out with Verlander. Oh, and then Pete. We can't escape the double plays. It's like we finally got something good with the RBI base hit, so we had to have something equally as bad and hit into an inning-ending double play. Oh, and we're getting a rain delay. They waited all the way until the 8th inning here, and now this is the first time I feel like I've ever seen this in the postseason, probably as a whole, let alone just the World Series. Well, either way, we can bring in a new pitcher because we're not locked into having Stanek out there, but I think I'd probably take him out anyway going into the 8th inning, so we'll just say warm up fresh arm, I guess. We got either Bummer or Sandlin. Is this a situation where I could, like, change it to anybody? No, I can't. So what's the point of even saying warm up new pitchers if they're going to blindside you and then not let you warm up a new pitcher? I don't know. I probably would have gone to Sandlin either way, and we already had him warming up, so it's not that big of a deal. But here we go. Nick Sandlin got 3 outs to get to bridge it to Edwin, and he got 2 runs to work with. That is the first 2 pitches of this at bat that have both caught the zone. At least one of them needs to be a strike, even if both of them should be. Then it makes me leave a fastball right down the middle. Lucky he got on top of it. Wow. 3-2 count, and I completely hung a slider to their best pitcher, and he was fooled on the speed. And there we go. Splitter gets him swinging. We're looking good here. At least a 2-run lead with Edwin Diaz ready to go for the bottom of the 9th. Oh, and they're going to Diego Castillo. That's probably the guy in their bullpen that's toughest for me to hit. I really want to get something going this inning, not just for more insurance, but also to get Brett Beatty another at bat. Because if we don't get Brett Beatty up again, he won't have a chance to go for the cycle, and right now he's 3 for 3, only a triple away from it. And okay, that's probably a good way to start there. 5-pitch walk. Nimmo, that has to... Okay, I'm going to say it has to get through. It was hit so much weaker than I thought it was off the bat. At least it wasn't a double play, though. Hap, there we go. 3-2 count. We're going to get our insurance at least there. Great swing to go the other way. We still need one more hit, though, and no double plays to get Beatty another at bat. Oh, man, that was actually a pretty good swing. I was going to say that's a really good pitch. It was with 2 strikes, but, man, that was a good swing, too. We have one batter before Beatty up with 2 outs. He has to get a hit. We can't come up one batter short of getting him a chance for a cycle. Oh, no, you can't paint like that. We could have had our walk. Okay, they let me hold up. Oh, I thought I blew it for myself, but we are getting Beatty up with a chance at a cycle. I don't know, though. With Julio in center with the speed to run down anything, and both him and Teoscar having arms, it's going to take something special to get a triple. Oh, no, a 3-2 count. I have to swing here. I'm not taking a walk when we're a triple away from the cycle. I'm swinging the bat. I'm swinging the bat. Does that have enough carry to get off the wall? No, not quite. I know it was hit to left, but that was actually kind of a close attempt there. Oh, what? They didn't give him his intro. Not like we would get to hear the music anyway, but it's the World Series. Why didn't we get to see his intro? Oh man, I thought it was kind of auto. I thought as long as it was Edwin Diaz pitching at home, he'd get his intro. Hey man, that better not throw him off though. He better be able to shut this one down and close the door. Dude, come on. What are we doing taking two amazing sliders? Do I have to throw the outlier up and in? That doesn't even work. How does that end up a ball? There we go. All right. I think it was early on 102, but it works. Dude, what is going on? We're getting both these hitters down 0-2, and then they are taking the perfect sliders. Pollock, swing. This is literally the exact same thing as the last plate appearance. We got him down 0-2, throw two amazing sliders that he just spits on, and then somehow miss a perfect release up and in. I guess I'll go up and away again. Nothing makes sense anymore. Nothing. That was the only pitch out of every single pitch that at bat that should have been an easy take, and that's the one he swings at. Another 0-2 count. Can we get the easy punch out? Are you gonna ring him up? No, because of course not. There we go. All right, that was maybe the most stressful and frustrating 1-2-3 3-punch out inning I've ever had. But there we go. We pick up a win at home. We tie up the series. That was a much better game. I put up 2 runs of my own. Didn't allow any. The only thing that would have made that better is if we completed that Brett Beatty cycle. But now we move away. We're going all the way across the country. Probably like as far as you can go from New York, right? Maybe not, because Boston would be slightly further away. I don't know why I'm talking about this like it matters. Next 3 games are in Seattle, though. That's what matters. And come on. Like, really? Down 2? I haven't had a game where I'm up 2. How is our offense just absolutely terrible before I load into a game? There's been maybe like 1 game where we've scored more than 2 runs through the first like 5 or 6 or however many it sims. Well, I guess we may as well just go ahead and get into it. We've scored 2 or more runs in what feels like the majority of the games so far in this postseason. So we have 3 full innings to do it. Already 2 on with nobody out here to start the 7th. So let's get things going here. Let's get this lead back as quick as we can. We have Lindor up, and here we go. On the road in Seattle. Lindor's only batting .211 this playoff run. No homers. I think this is a good time for that first one. Let's see what we got, though. What has gone on so far in this game? Only 3 hits on the board with a walk. Tyler McGill, though, on the mound. He's struck out 11 through 6 innings. Gotta get him the run support then, man. He's gotta pick up the win. And actually, I thought it was supposed to be Scherzer pitching this game, so don't really know why or how the rotation got changed, but if McGill's gonna pitch this good, I can't complain. Oh, don't you super dot right on the corner for an 0-2 count. Come on, Lindor. Oh, we actually got it. On an 0-2 count, he left the fastball right down the middle, and we hit it off those windows out there. Just like that, we have the lead. Who cares that we're down 2? 1 swing is all it took for Lindor to give us the lead here. Now we're playing ahead for the rest of this thing. Finally got his big postseason moment here in Game 3 of the World Series. I mean, that's an even bigger swing when you think of it in context. The fact that the series is tied 1-1. We're on the road for the next 3 games. If we didn't get that right there, who says we get anything going in the next 2 innings? And then all of a sudden we're down 2-1. Oh man, and Nimmo got a pitch to hit there too, and I missed it. Almost still dropped in though. Oh, and Hap, dude. Every at-bat has ended with a fastball right down the middle. And then another fastball. At least that one was up above the zone. A tougher pitch to hit. Couldn't get anything more going, but we have the lead. Still got to hold on to it for 3 more innings. This game is not locked up yet. McGill has 76 pitches. He's still got plenty of energy. Okay, I wasn't sure. Sometimes when your starter's allowed a run or two, they don't have a ton of energy left, but McGill does, so he should be able to give us the 7th. And Teoscar's going to fly that to center on a 2-1 count. No harm. Oh, Pete, come on. Dude, that was a first pitch ground ball right to him. Why? He moved the glove too far. That ball literally got between his glove and his body there. How do you mess that up? And I think they're calling that a hit too, because he didn't get his glove on it. All right, we got Pollock. That's 12 strikeouts there on that circle change. And we're gonna sit down Cal Raleigh on the big 12-6. 13 punch-outs for McGill. I might even throw him back out in the 8th. We have another new pitcher to face here, Penn Murphy. I think we faced him already. Obviously didn't do anything against him, though. No way. Oh, I want to figure out how I missed that. Alvarez battled there. I really felt like I was on that. Yeah, the timing was good, just the PCI wasn't great, and he had a very small PCI with Murphy on the mound. I bet that was the same thing. And that one, that's very similar, except I actually made contact. A little bit under that. That one, that's just gonna get caught, isn't it? Yep, dude. 3 sliders that I timed up. One of them I swing through, the other one I pop up. The third one is a perfect swing. All 3 are outs. And actually, they have 3 lefties up in a row, so I'm not going to leave McGill out there. We're going to go to Brooks Raley here. And I actually think this is Raley's first outing of the postseason. Yeah. Against Philadelphia, whenever we went to a lefty, we were going to Bummer. There we go. We're going to sit down Listella. I don't really know why they didn't go to a pinch hitter there. They're not pinch hitting for Wong either. I don't know, man. This is bottom 8. You're down 1. It's the World Series. You'd think you'd want to bring in your better bats for a better matchup. Dude, I really thought he turned on that and hit it out for a second. He's still going to get 2 on it. I threw 2 just perfect, amazing sliders right before that. One of them he check swung, the other one he just took. I should have known better to say anything about them bringing in a better hitter for a better matchup, because that's what would happen. And then now they bring in the guy who would have hit lefties well, just to run. Guess you can't really question the moves if the moves are working. Okay, we got it back to 3-2. I'm going slider. I'm going primary pitch. Come on. We got him. All right, nice. All right, now we get into France and more righties. And France has 99 clutch. Okay. Then you know what? We're asking Diaz to get us 4 outs with a runner on second. Back in his old stomping grounds here in Seattle. This is our best clutch rating to match up with Ty France. We got more righties up after to face next inning. There we go. That is a perfect pitch. Slider to sit him down. Come on. There we go. I didn't think he was going to swing. We got the big out here. Now we just got to get Diaz through the bottom half of the 9th. Insurance would obviously be big time if we can add on an extra run here. They're bringing in Matt Brash. I know he probably doesn't have the most difficult ratings to face, but I always have trouble picking up his release point. Come on, bloop in for me. Get down. It will. Just barely out of his reach. Worked that from an 0-2 all the way back to a 3-2. Got a pitch to hit and did not make a good swing on it, but we got a man on. No. I timed that up. I guess I didn't move the PCI out to cover it. I thought I did. Felt like I did. There's a 3-1 count too. I don't need to be swinging at that, but I thought it was pretty hittable. Oh, and I'm just... Dude, I keep timing up these sliders. Why can I not make a good swing on a slider in the zone? Nimmo, okay, that's at least going to get through. Didn't miss that one. Need one more swing, though. One more big swing to get an extra run across. Man, and that was a bad one. That was a bad AB. Couldn't cash in there to get any extra runs across. That just makes Lindor's swing even bigger if I couldn't do anything else. We have Edwin Diaz already in the game to face 4, 5, 6. Come on. Say you went around. There we go. I'm going slider again. We're doubling up. Oh, no. Was he way early on that? And he was. He was very early. He just barely caught it off like the very end of the bat. I'm going again. That, okay. Did not mean for that to stay in the zone, and I think he was actually late. That is a break. Oh, no. First of all, how are we taking that? I guess there's no second of all. Well, second of all, he won't take that one. That's 3 punch outs here for Diaz. You just need one more. Oh, and he's caught looking. Edwin Diaz with 4 outs and a 1-run lead picks up the save on 4 straight strikeouts. That's his 7th save of this postseason run. That might be in contention for a record for the most saves in a single postseason. Yep, I just checked. That 7th save ties Diaz for the record with 6 others. And we have 2 more wins. So if he can get 1 more save in either of the 2 more wins that we need, we could be looking at a new record holder. All right, so what are we looking like? Up 2-1 going into game 4. We're down again. Wow. For going 121-41 in the regular season, this team is not playing well without me. So all right, man, we came back from a worse situation last time. We just do it again this time. Let's hit another home run right away. Take another 3-2 lead. It's Happ out there at the plate, McNeil on second, Robbie Ray pitching for them. So let's take a look at what's gotten us to this point then. We have another Lindor home run. Okay, that's where our 1 run has come from. It seems like we've activated him. And Scherzer was ready to go for this one. 5 innings so far, 10 punch outs, but those 2 runs allowed on 2 hits, they're both solo shots. Oh my God. Wait a second. Ian Happ? Oh no, it's caught. I really thought that I actually did it again. I thought that I might have gone deep, but I must have just missed it. I didn't even look at the PCI. Yeah, I was a little bit under it. All we need is a base hit though, Lindor. Let's tie it up. Hey, he's gonna tie it up. He's gonna get more than a base hit. Hanging slider went the other way with it. Lindor is gonna give us the big swing again to erase the deficit. I don't know, man. Are we looking at the World Series MVP after a pretty lackluster postseason run up to this point? Ooh, and they're gonna intentionally walk Pete Alonso. I guess I can't blame him with the base open. It's gonna give us Marte. Oh, and Marte's gonna come through. Very early. I could not wait back on that circle change, but we just barely kept it fair. And once again in the first inning, my first inning into the game, we're taking a 3-2 lead after being down. And Alvar, oh no. I thought we were going to keep things going. Oh, that was right down the middle too. I should have done some big damage there. At least we did some damage that we needed to do. But we have an extra inning this time that we need to hold this lead for. Scherzer is 72 pitches in. Well over half energy, though. Listella's one of the guys that got him earlier, so we got to pitch carefully here. That's about as careful as you can pitch. Look at that spot. Oh, and we got him sitting down on 3 pitches this time. He took the 1 pitch in the zone, swung at 2 out of the zone, and we don't have to worry about him. Oh, and we got him out in front of the 4-seam. Oh, and there we go. Couldn't hold up. That ball just snuck up and out of the zone, so I am lucky he swung. 3 more strikeouts for Scherzer. That brings it up to 13. Let's get him a bit more of a lead. Let's feel more comfortable about this one. Dude, what is Robbie Ray doing on the mound? I swear, every single batter I've sent up to the plate has gotten a pitch right down the middle, and they're still leaving Robbie Ray in. Do I just sit right down the pipe? Man, it was also right down the middle. I'm sending him. I think we've got plenty of speed. We do. It's not even a play. 2 batters into this 7th, we've extended our lead. Look at where this pitch was. Breaking pitch. It was a slider. Couldn't tell if it was a slider or curve as it was coming in. Doesn't really matter because I put a perfect swing on it. And there we go. There goes Robbie Ray. Beatty. Oh, no. 107 off the bat. That one is going to get past France. All right, McNeil gets himself on base again. No, I didn't want to swing. You can't swing at that. Come on, dude. 2-0. You don't chase the sinker with runners on. Probably had a chance for more there, but at least we added one more on. Can feel a little bit more comfortable leaving Scherzer out there. There we go. McNeil's going to go ahead and make that play on the weak pop-up. Pete, come on. He made that play. After he didn't make that play last game, any ball hit to him, I'm kind of worried about. Haps got that. No need to worry. We're running that down. Scherzer gets through 7. Lindor, another one towards the gap. Didn't hit it hard enough, though. We'll have to stay at 1. And I caught a glimpse of that PCI before it went away. I kind of pulled off on it like I always do on sinkers. Oh, no. That was the meatiest hanging slider I think I've ever seen, and I missed it. Oh no, with Pete Alonso too? Okay, there we go, Marte. Get things back on track here. We got first and second with 1 out again. Okay, good take. Good take there, and they gave me the call. Even if I swing at that, even if it was a strikeout, it might have been better than swinging, because swinging at that could have been our double play. I think Escobar has earned himself this at-bat against the righty after the double in his last at-bat. Big spot, though, with bases loaded. He's got to come through. And he won't come through. We will ground into yet another... Actually, nope. Still ground into a double play. It is almost unbelievable how we've still managed to do as well as we have on offense in this playoff run while grounding into the amount of double plays I've grounded into. Like, it has to be well over half of the innings that I've hit in, I've grounded into a double play. Come on, ring him up. He went... No, he... What? He went around that time, though, right? He did. Okay. We are going to sit him down on a slurve. And that's the 15th Scherzer strikeout of this game. One more, Max. Come on. Yeah, I knew that was going to be ball 4 as soon as I saw that they gave me a yellow for 97% accuracy. Okay, we're going to get the pop-up, though. No harm done on the walk. Scherzer gets us through 8. 15 punch-outs in line for the win. Nimmo out to center. No, I was just a little late on that. Everything else about that swing was amazing. Beatty with the homer. Perfect, perfect. I guess he's saying, hang on. Don't let Lindor run away with this World Series MVP. That's his second homer. He didn't even start this game. He came off the bench. Now in his second AB, he's hitting at 427 to give us a 3-run lead. I almost don't remember... that was a bad swing. I was going to say I almost don't remember a time before Brett Beatty, which is crazy because we didn't have him for pretty much the whole regular season. He's made such an impact in such a short amount of time. Ian Happ? Oh man, that was a pretty good swing on a bad pitch to swing at, but we won't add on any more after the Beatty shot. We're heading into the bottom of the 9th, up 3. And it's still a save spot, so you know what we're going to do. Edwin Diaz is coming in to finish it. Just needs to pick up this save to set a brand new postseason record for saves in a single season. Oh, and there we go. I did not even hit the spot I wanted to hit. Still ended up as a good pitch. And there's another punch out on the slider that time. And that one finally is not going to be a punch out, but a lazy fly ball to Nimmo. And we have a 3-1 lead in the World Series. Dropped the first game, and now we've won the next 3 in a row. And we're 1 win away from locking it up. And all right, here we go into November, 1 win away, still on the road. What do we got? It's tied up. If we could make 2 straight comebacks, we should be able to win a tie game. All right, so let's do it here. 1 win away, 3 innings away from the first Mets World Series victory since, what, 1986? Let's do it. What do we got here? Pete Alonso up to the plate. Jeff McNeil on base again. Chris Flexen is who they're throwing out there. Do they even want to win? I guess I can't really say that when he's into the 7th without giving up a run yet, but I really don't know if I've ever seen that 5th starter go. I wonder if ours is in. I wonder if we're throwing Carrasco out there and it's a Carrasco versus Chris Flexen shutout going through 6 both ways. Man, and he's also only at 58 pitches, so he's probably got a lot left in the tank if we don't hit him. Let's see what we've got, though. We have 2 hits on the board. Those are our only 2 base runners, and McNeil on base right now is one of them. We have Senga, so it's not Carrasco. It's Kodai Senga, our top starter, out there right now to secure the World Series, and he's doing everything he can, man. 6 scoreless innings, 8 punch-outs. We gotta get him the run support. We have the right part of the order up to do it. Pete and Lindor up back-to-back. And Pete... oh, what kind of carry does that have? Not enough. It's going to die at the track. Worked it all the way back down 0-2 to 3-2. Saw our 8th pitch right there. Just not enough. A little early on that cutter away. But that just means it's Lindor. I thought he was better than a 5 for 17 in the series so far. But a couple bombs, 5 runs driven in, and he's up in another big spot. And he's, okay, at least it's going to get through. I really thought that was going to be another double play. We hit it just hard enough to get past the first baseman holding him on. We're passing it on to the next guy, though, and I don't like that we still have a double play set up here with 1 out. Nimmo, that's not on the ground. That's not a double play. It's not a homer either, but it is the lead. Brandon Nimmo's the one with the big swing today. And we still have 2 runners in scoring position with only 1 out. We have just come out of the gate swinging in these first innings of these World Series games in Seattle here. I think I've scored in the first inning to take the lead every single time. And we're in a really good spot to keep pouring it on. No, that was the pitch to do it on too. Just was not ready to wait back there. That's a shame. Wow, and that got me also. That's a really good 3-2 pitch right there. Can't really lay off with it being that close, but that is a very difficult pitch to make contact on. It is going to get through. We are going to cash in those 2 runners. That is a 3 spot here in the 7th, and we all of a sudden have a commanding lead today. Man, I'd really love it if they could show you the splits on the stats when you're actually controlling the players versus when it's simming with the CPU, because I've said this before already, this entire postseason run, we do not load into games with our offense doing anything, and I consistently come in and put runs on the board. So we look out there on the board, and when we look at our postseason stats, nobody's looking like they're doing great. I mean, everyone's batting in the 200s. Nobody's really, like, standing out. But I'd love to know what those numbers look like in purely my at-bats. And Alvarez, man, we got another 12-6. Just got under that, but 3 runs come across to score here in the 7th. Now all we got to do is get through 3 innings on the mound before we allow 3 runs. And Senga still has plenty left in the tank. I am going to go with him. And if we don't score any more, that's when we'll see, you know, Edwin Diaz in to close it out. If we do make it a non-save spot, might finally go ahead, pull the trigger, and finish a game with Senga. Oh, he actually got around on the high heat, but just a lazy fly ball. That's the first of 9 outs we need. Oh, good spot on the fastball up and away. Could be the last at-bat Julio gets in the World Series. And Teoscar, first pitch swing and hit that hard, but Nimmo's going to get there. And we're seeing Matt Brash again. Chris Flexen's done after we put up 3. Wow, okay. Yep, Matt Brash. He's difficult when he's hitting his spots, and he hit his spots there. Wow, even a pitch like that is punching me out. Man, and then I am not on that at all. I think I saw Brash pretty well in the last game. So, man, that is a big difference. Just means we got to stay locked in with Senga. There we go. Great slider right off the plate there for another Kodai Senga punch-out. Another double-digit punch-out performance from him. I think if we're talking various MVP awards for this postseason, if this game would actually give it to a pitcher, Senga has to be in the conversation. It would have to be between him and Edwin Diaz, and I feel like I'd give it to Senga, even though Edwin Diaz has had a historic postseason. Senga is just a consistent double-digit strikeout, 7 to 8 inning guy. I think his ERA is under 1. This might be like his 5th start. He is just locked down in these playoffs. And we finally got a swing and miss strike 3 on the forkball. If we don't score in the top of the 9th, that'll be the last pitch Senga throws this whole season. And they're bringing in Diego Castillo, so I guess chances are that was the last pitch we see out of Senga. And we'll work a walk there. That was the maximum amount of pitches you can see in an at-bat without swinging the bat. And I did not swing the bat. And another walk. Pete and Lindor draw back-to-back walks here. Maybe we won't be helpless to score another run. Man, Castillo cannot find the strike zone right now. It's not like he's gassed or anything. He probably had full energy to start. Look at this. He is nowhere near hitting the spots he's trying to hit. And Nimmo, he hit it on the ground, which I didn't want him to do, but it's hitting a good enough spot, and we are going to drive in another run, making it no longer a safe situation. 4-0 lead. We're still not done. There's runners on second and third right now with nobody out, and they're actually sticking with Castillo. He faces 3 hitters, and they're actually leaving him in. And that's the tough pitch for me. Mark Canha, I got a round on that. Not deep enough to try and score, though. And I'm check swinging, and it caught the zone, so we couldn't drive in any extra runs. But we did get just enough cushion to no longer make it a save spot, so we'll see if Kodai Senga can throw a complete game shutout to win the World Series. Still in the green, just at 100 pitches to start the inning. We got 9-1-2 coming up, all lefties. And there we go. He's looking at that fastball low. Gotta imagine he saw that as the forkball. And there we go. Jammed. Tough meter there, but Beatty's got it. We got 1 to go. 1 more out until the finish of this Mets March to October. The finish of the greatest season of all time. Oh, and there's strike 1 on the foul ball. Nobody's going to be able to get there. And there's the grounder to Lindor, fittingly, and he's gonna get it there to win the World Series. We do it on the road. We do it by winning 4 straight after dropping game 1. But after a 121 win regular season, we cap it off. We didn't blow it. We followed through and won the World Series. So that is a big old check mark on the first team on the list here of disappointing teams in real life, that we gave them a second chance here in the game and they followed through and won. I still want to go through some stats. We're going to go into franchise mode so we can see the awards. We're going to do a little bit of a stat recap even for the regular season because we didn't do that after the regular season was over. So if this is where you're headed out, thanks for watching the Mets March to October, these 6 episodes, and make sure you tune back in next week for the start of the next March to October with the new team. But here we go. It's official. World Series champion Mets. Obviously, we're going to get an A grade of amazing. Before we go ahead and continue in franchise to look at the awards, let's look at the postseason stats and maybe formulate some of the guesses to see who the postseason awards are going to go to. Like I said, usually they always give it to hitters, kind of by default. And man, Lindor could win both postseason MVP and World Series MVP. He wasn't, I'm kind of shocked that he finishes with the highest batting average and on-base percentage on the team because he really didn't have it going until the World Series started. But maybe he was the only one who was consistent once the World Series started, so everyone else's numbers kind of got worse and he was the only one that got better. Everyone had their moments though. Like Beatty had that big home run. I think that was back against the Phillies. Nimmo in the last game right there with that go-ahead double. He also hit a couple bombs. Lindor, obviously, big swings in the World Series. Alvarez all the way back in the first series against Miami, hitting 2 homers, and then started game 1, the Phillies series, with that perfect double. After that, though, he didn't do anything. Pete Alonso hit a walk-off homer for us, even though he didn't do much overall. That was a huge game. We were down heading into that bottom of the 9th, and he stepped up, hit a 2-run shot. If we don't do that and we drop game 1, then we also dropped game 2. Things could have looked a lot different. McNeil, I remember he had a big home run against the Phillies. He also, I think, had a pretty good World Series. Seemed like every game I loaded into, he was either on base or he was like one of the few guys who did have a hit in the game. Canna, obviously, he had that big home run against the Phillies when we were down 2. I think that was in... That was actually the biggest one probably overall. Even bigger than the Pete Alonso walk-off, because we were down 2 and we were down to 2 outs in the 9th inning on the road. Canna stepped up, hit a 3-run tank. I got a lot of good hits with Marte. He got on base a lot. Escobar, even though he only went 2 for 12, I know he had that double earlier in the World Series. Nito and Guillorme didn't play. Don't really remember Pham doing anything, I guess. And then Happ, he got a lot of hits before the World Series. He was always on base. I think he got hit a couple times too. 3 walks, but yeah, a couple hit by pitches also, so he found ways to get on base. But then it's really the pitching. Like, if we could give the postseason awards to pitchers, if the game actually started doing that, none of the hitters would have any chance put up against the pitchers. I mean, Kodai Senga threw 19 more innings than the next closest. He had 5 starts. He had a .88 ERA. With 53 strikeouts to only 3 walks. Only 3 walks in 41 innings. That is ridiculous. That's why I say I feel like, man, he had 2 complete games. I forgot because he completed both starts actually in the World Series. It was just that first one we lost 1-0. But yeah, I think if it came down to him versus Edwin Diaz for postseason MVP, I'm still taking Senga, even though Diaz had a record-setting 8 saves, 15 strikeouts in those 8 1/3 innings to no walks, no runs allowed, only a .36 whip. Man, and actually the only run allowed by the bullpen was Nick Sandlin. He allowed 1 run. I guess we didn't use the bullpen too much because our starters were really good, so it's not like the bullpen covered a lot of innings, but they covered some important ones. And they did it without allowing anything. So yeah, let's go ahead and continue into franchise. We'll take a look at the awards first. I'm pretty sure, thinking back to my Nationals March to Octobers, they still don't give it to pitchers. So my official guess for postseason awards is gonna be Lindor for both. Although I feel like it should probably be Senga for both, actually. With 2 complete games in the World Series, yeah, it should be him for both. So let's see. What does it show us first here? It shows World Series MVP. That's Lindor. Batted .333 with a couple bombs. And then what about postseason MVP as a whole? Also goes to Lindor. So I was correct. And I'm trying to think back to the regular season to who might win the regular season awards. I do remember for the National League MVP, Pete Alonso was having an amazing season, but Austin Riley for the Braves might have been doing even better. I know Lindor and Riley were both at the top of the list when it came to WAR, but this game doesn't, in my experience, factor in WAR a ton when it comes to MVP, so I don't think Lindor is really going to be in the mix. I guess I wouldn't be shocked if maybe those are the 3 finalists, but I would assume it's going to go to Riley. So let's see. Regular season MVP, it does go to Pete Alonso. All right. I guess I didn't see all the way at the end, but Pete did kind of pull away from Riley when it comes to home runs. Had what, like 60 more runs batted in than Riley, which, you know, runs batted in, that's not like a great stat. I think we all agree on that now, but when it's 176, obviously that provides some value. So yeah, obviously the 121 win record-setting team would have to get the MVP. Now what I don't know is if one of our guys are gonna get the Cy Young. I don't think Senga was ridiculously good in the regular season. I think he had like a 3.5-ish ERA or something like that. I know Scherzer was at the top of a lot of lists early on, but as he regressed, his numbers got a little worse. I know Verlander was also near the top when it came to like ERA. I think he did just barely qualify, but also missing 5-6 starts like he did. Who knows? So let's see. It is, oh my God, I forgot about Tyler McGill. Tyler McGill takes home the Cy Young Award. I don't know. I mean, we're not sitting here looking at everybody. We're only seeing the 3 finalists it shows. And I know from experience, this game still places way too much importance on the pitcher win-loss record. And Tyler McGill went 21-3, which is pretty good. So we take home the hardware, both MVP and Cy Young. Let's take a look at the AL. Aaron Judge won it, so he's 2 years in a row winning it in the AL. I'm gonna guess Shohei probably should have won it though. Hitting 48 homers, batting .270, also having a .249 ERA in 246 innings pitched with 246 strikeouts. Yeah, that's an easy MVP award for Shohei. Like, man, I know Judge put up 52 homers with an even higher batting average than his crazy year last year, but I think if Shohei Ohtani put together this season in real life to go up against even the Judge 2022 season, I don't think you could justify having Judge win MVP over a season like this. And then Cy Young, yeah, I was gonna say it has to go to Ohtani. Who would be better than that? All right, then back to the NL here, the batting title. Jeff McNeil comes in third. He's a finalist. Reliever of the year, I think the only reason we didn't have that is because our closers were split because we didn't get Diaz until the halfway point. If you combine the stats for David Robertson though and the stats for Edwin Diaz, I don't think we had a blown save amongst the two. And then the rookie of the year goes to Kodai Senga. Man, I forgot he was a rookie. Obviously it was going to go to him. It wouldn't have gone to anybody else. 19-7 record, 3.32 ERA, 188 strikeouts. I know we're comparing him to 2 hitters, but neither of them come close to that. Over in the AL, it was Tristan Casas. That seems like a pretty tight race there. And then we got the Hank Aaron Award going to Pete with 2 Braves as the runners up. Over in the AL goes to Judge. And then we're on to Gold Gloves. So we're just going to go through these pretty quick to see if we got anybody. We got, oh, Jeff McNeil won it for second base. Okay, 84 fielding for him makes sense. A little bit more hardware taken home. Anybody else? Lindor wins for shortstop. So we got the middle of our infield, both Gold Glovers. Anybody in the outfield? I don't think so. Did I miss? Mark Canha did finish as a finalist for left field, which is kind of crazy with him having 58 fielding and being DH, I think, when he played against lefties, at least for the first half of the season or so, I think. On to Silver Sluggers. We gotta take home, I mean, we're gonna take home a Silver Slugger. I was gonna say we gotta take one home so we can get like one of everything, but I feel like there's no doubt here that we're gonna take home the first base Silver Slugger if he was the MVP. I wonder if we'll have any else. I feel like Lindor's probably got to win one. McNeil finishes in third for Silver Slugger, and then at short it was Lindor. So Lindor wins Gold Glove and Silver Slugger, best overall shortstop in the NL this season. Anybody in the outfield? We don't have any outfield Silver Sluggers, but we took home some hardware. Obviously the postseason and World Series MVPs, the regular season MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, couple Gold Gloves, couple Silver Sluggers. I mean, would you expect anything less from the greatest team of all time? I guess we can look at Player of the Month awards. Not like that is too huge, but may as well see if any of our guys won it. Nobody for April, nobody for May either, nobody for June. Wow, what's going on here? There we go. Finally, July, we take home Pitcher of the Month from Verlander, 5-0 with a .84 ERA. And then Jeff McNeil batted .482 in July. August, we didn't have anybody. And then in September, we had Scherzer was the Pitcher of the Month. Man, I thought he fell off as his ratings were getting worse, but I guess he had one of his better months right at the end. Not as many Player of the Month and all that than I would have thought. Like Senga won Rookie of the Year and he didn't have a single Rookie of the Month. So that just really leaves us with a stat recap left to do. I'm definitely going to keep this shorter than I normally do stat recaps. I mean, we've made it through everything, but I just want to take one look back to appreciate everybody's season individually. So we'll start with Marte, leadoff hitter against righties, and man, what a year. Batted over 300, 40 stolen bases, even got some power September coming back with 23 bombs, 38 doubles, and 9 triples. Played a pretty solid outfield too, had a 4.4 wins above replacement, which was actually less than 2021. I'm kind of surprised. I guess it makes sense, higher on base percentage. Maybe he was a little better in the field. He had some more stolen bases, but yeah, I would have thought this would have been Marte's best season maybe ever, but I guess it's not clear cut. Then we got Jeff McNeil. He got even better throughout the season against lefties, which was pretty huge. Always good when you have a lefty who can hit lefties, and he hit for a 331 average. We saw that when he comes runner-up in the batting title. What's crazy is he only struck out 46 times, 142 games, 593 at-bats, and only 46 strikeouts. Hit for a decent amount of power too, 11 homers, and then the 38 doubles. Almost got to 200 hits. Would have loved for him to get to 200. Wasn't a great base stealer, and for some reason, man, the CPU just loves to steal bases in simulations. Like, I'm sure we'll see, like, Francisco Alvarez probably attempted 10 steals or so. Like, that just doesn't need to happen. I feel like that kind of affects the wins above replacement too. But McNeil comes in with a 6.1. That's his best season ever. And then Pete Alonso, man, that contact got way better throughout the course of the year. This has to be his best season of all time. He had over 200 hits. I mean, he was our biggest power hitter while also being one of our best contact hitters with a 324 average. 41 doubles, he even hit 3 triples somehow. Maybe the biggest thing is only 86 strikeouts to 64 walks, and he was actually more successful than not stealing bases. I guess that kind of makes sense if you look at the year before though. 6.6 wins above replacement for him. He actually kind of racked up the errors. How does a first baseman make that many errors? Like, they're not putting it on him when he can't scoop the ball, right? And then we go to Lindor. I mean, according to this, our top 4 hitters in our order against righties, all stars. But Lindor, I feel like he must have dropped off near the end because he was up over 300, I thought, for most of the year. But 42 doubles, over 30 bombs, almost 100 walks, only 100 strikeouts. Pretty good base stealer, 914 OPS, 8.6 wins above replacement, which that makes it by far and away his best season of all time. Brandon Nimmo, I mean, he had double-digit triples, over 20 homers, over 30 doubles. Again, somebody who didn't strike out a lot. Decent amount of walks. Man, he might be like one of the more underrated players on this team, which I don't know much about the real life Mets, but I feel like that could probably describe most of Brandon Nimmo's career, being one of the more underrated players out there. And yeah, I mean, he finishes with a 7.2 wins above replacement. Helps that he played center and probably played it pretty well defensively. But that's one of our better, I mean, that's better than Pete. And Pete won MVP. Then we got Ian Happ, who with his A potential got better throughout the season, way better. Obviously traded for him. Was he our last trade? I don't remember when we traded for him really, but he put up numbers for us. He fit right in really. Got up over those 20 homers, over 30 doubles, batted over 300, almost got up over 200 hits. And he comes in with a 4.7 wins above replacement. Then Mark Canha, also an all-star, finishes just under 30 doubles, just under 20 homers, and just under a 300 average. So that's a shame, but he did not strike out. And man, he's attempting to steal 25 times with 20 stealing. He was actually more successful than not though, so I guess that's not terrible. And somehow he finished in the conversation for Gold Glove. He finishes with a 3.9 WAR, which I guess for him isn't like crazy good, but he was definitely a good piece for this team. Somebody who was a 72 overall, you're not really expecting to be the greatest, and he was up there. Francisco Alvarez, obviously we didn't have him for the full season, but he played in 82 games and put up really good numbers. I mean, he progressed like crazy, and we didn't even get a chance to fast track him or get him a player locked call up for an attribute increase, and he got enough of an attribute increase on his own. But good power for him. He was 0 for 5 stealing, but that's fine. 281 average, almost a 500 slugging. I forgot when I saw Senga won Rookie of the Year. I didn't even remember him. I'm surprised he didn't finish as a finalist. He probably should have. He was probably better than those other 2 finalists. And then there's not a lot to talk about Brett Baty. Everything he did was in the playoffs except for going 1 for 1 with a homer, which just happened to be the walk-off home run for our 117th win. But once he did that, we should have known he was gonna have a presence in that playoff run, and he did. But then over to the bench, I mean, I guess only the bench if you're talking about our lineup against righties, because Escobar hit against lefties, and he did pretty well as a platoon bat. You know, maybe not as big a power numbers as I would have thought with, you know, over 70 power against lefties. Didn't quite get to 10, but I'm not really complaining. I mean, it's kind of tough to judge a platoon guy, but a 1.7 wins above replacement. I can't remember exactly when, but he transitioned to be a DH in the games that he played. So we didn't really have to worry about that fielding come a certain point. I think it was once we got Hap is what it was. And then Tomas Nido kind of held down the fort there for a little bit. I guess it was really only the one game, but after we traded away Omar Narvaez, he was the only catcher on the roster for a bit, which was scary. But he did okay. Started the year as the platoon guy when we'd face lefties until Alvarez got here. 260 average, 335 on base. Didn't commit an error behind the plate with a 1.7 wins above replacement. As a platoon guy transitioned to a backup, that's pretty good. Guillorme was our other platoon guy. Before we made our moves, we had him and Escobar platooning third. So Guillorme played in 85 games. He really fell off though, so it's probably a good thing we got Hap and had the ability to platoon, because I swear I remember him hitting over 300 for the majority of the year. But he fell off enough to bat all the way down at 268. Still had a good year. Can't say he didn't. Only the 42 strikeouts with 42 walks. Finishes with a 1.3 wins above replacement. And then finally, for who we can see, is Tommy Pham, who was a lot better than I thought he would have been. Also a platoon guy, played in 83 games, hit over 10 homers, 10 doubles, 4 triples, 272 average, 820 OPS. He stole bases pretty well. Doesn't look like he had the best time out in the field, but still finishes with a 1.1 wins above replacement. And then, yeah, I don't know. Or no, we're on, I was going to say we can't see like Vogelback and people who ended up in the minors, but we can because we're on franchise. So let's take a look at Vogelback. He was on our team throughout the regular season and then tragically didn't make the postseason roster, but he was really good. Again, another platoon guy, only in there to face righties, and he did that very well. One shy of 20 bombs. He got over 100 hits. Batted over 270 with an on base over 370. Probably don't need to be trying to steal 9 times with 7 speed, but you do you, Dan. I remember that commercial when the season started and they were showing off the new rules and Vogelback just wanted to steal a base. Didn't realize he never attempted it in his career, but I guess the time was right for him to try 9 times. But pretty solid to finish with a .9 wins above replacement when he didn't spend any time in the field and was only a platoon bat at the plate. And then we have to talk about Tim Locastro. If I had the choice, if I had the option of who I got to send down when we made moves, I don't know if I ever would have sent down Locastro. Not just because you don't have many better speed options than him, but the numbers he was putting together before we had to get rid of him was just insane. I mean, look at this. It was not a small sample size. 154 at bats over 52 games, and he was hitting over 300. Going back to the very beginning, he was actually slugging too. I'm pretty sure he hit like 3 of his 4 home runs pretty early on, like all at once. So yeah, we can't really talk about this season without talking about Tim Locastro, and who would have thought we'd be saying that. 1.4 wins above replacement, and he wasn't even on the big league team past like July. But let's talk about our pitchers. Senga, man, randomly at the end, he's up to an 88, because he was an 87 for the most part. Maybe, well, yeah, and Verlander's up 1, and so is Scherzer, so I don't know what happened. Maybe you had to get to a certain amount of games played or something in the postseason, then you actually do see progression. I don't know. Doesn't really matter. But we saw Senga won Rookie of the Year. Don't really need to spend too much time talking about him. Where he really shined was in the playoffs, in the postseason run. Then we had Verlander, who only got 23 starts. I thought he missed less than that, but he missed about 10 starts. Pitched really good once we got him, even with crazy regression. He started at a 98, dropped down to an 82 by the time the playoffs started, and still still put up numbers. Tyler McGill, obviously Cy Young, don't need to spend too much time talking about him, but he got that potential up to a B pretty early, which allowed him to become an 80 overall. He was also the one, which is kind of crazy to think he was still good enough to win Cy Young, because he was the one who very early on we had that no-hitter opportunity with, and I just wasn't able to make it happen. But if we did, could you imagine if he won Cy Young without any sort of player boost? Could you imagine if we did that and got him a +3 player boost? Would he have just had the best season of all time? Max Scherzer was, I don't know. Could I say he was our best pitcher overall? Can I say that when Verlander had the season he did and McGill literally won the Cy Young award? But look at what Scherzer did. Also regressing like crazy, but especially for the first half, probably a little more than half of the year. I thought he would have been the one to win Cy Young. That ERA was down at like 220s, 230s for most of the year, and it had to have been just his last couple starts that got it up to 270. All the ratings took a hit, and that K/9 rating got all the way down to 67, so he had a much different strikeout per 9 number than he normally does. I mean, you just take a glance here, and he's striking out way more than innings pitched. Like that K/9, that's up over 10, probably into the 11s. And this year, he had way less strikeouts than innings pitched. Carrasco, I mean, he was only a starter for 9 games. Transitioned to a bullpen role, didn't pitch in the playoffs, but he was solid for what he was. Didn't regress as much as I thought he would. David Peterson was probably our worst starter. He really just could never get that ERA under 4.5. Like, he would go through stretches where his numbers would look better, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's back up to like 490. So I'm sure most of his bad starts were just really bad starts, and in between, he probably pitched pretty well. And then Quintana, kind of a disappointment after we got him back. I mean, he was only a bullpen arm, long reliever. 4.43 ERA isn't bad for that role. And then, man, this bullpen, after those starters who ended up in the bullpen looked a lot different than it did on opening day. But John Curtis was one guy who stuck around from the beginning, and he put together a solid year. 43 2/3 innings, nice 3.30 ERA. I mean, he was just kind of solid. Can't really say much more than that. We traded for Stanek. I don't really know how much we used him, but I mean, I didn't even really use him in the playoffs. I think I got 1 out with him. So yeah, there's really not much to say about him. Aaron Bummer, we all know, if you were following along with this year, you know what happened with him. For some reason, just kept giving up runs. Couldn't stop. But then he actually put together a solid postseason. Really, it was only the one series against Philly because he didn't even make the roster against Miami. And I don't know if I used him in the World Series. But yeah, I think he was our first trade of the year, and it didn't even take 5 players in order to trade for him. We also traded for Nick Sandlin. I think he was one of the earlier trades. He put together a really nice season, 38 innings for us, perfect 8-0 record. Only the 24 hits allowed. He did allow 21 walks, though, to make up for it, but he did a really good job at keeping those runners from coming around to score. Brooks Raley was also around since the start of the year, picked up 27 2/3 innings. He actually got 5 saves himself over the course of the year. Blew 1, but 10 holds. A nice 2.60 ERA with 26 punch-outs. Very under the radar nice year. I guess I haven't looked at anybody's wins above replacement, have I? Let's very quickly go through and do that, just because I was doing that for all the offensive guys. 3.1 for Senga. 4.2 for Verlander, 5.1 for McGill, 5.2 for Scherzer, and then a 1.5 for Carrasco. David Peterson at a 2.6, 0.9 for Quintana, 0.3 for Curtis, 0.2 for Stanek, negative 0.7 for Bummer. Sandlin only with a 0.1. I guess that makes sense. K/9's low, walks per 9's high, FIP up at 2 or 426. So I guess he just pitched with a lot of luck, didn't he? And then Brooks Raley with a 0.5. And then it's Edwin Diaz. 0.6 wins above replacement for him, but that's just because he was only here for half the year, which makes the 27 saves even more impressive. A perfect 27 for 27 in his save opportunities since getting called up. Only allowed 13 hits in 28 2/3 innings. 2.51 ERA wasn't as dominant as the 1.31 from the year before, but anytime I pitched with him, I felt dominant. Like, it did not feel like the other team had any chance of making a comeback once I brought him in. And they didn't. I mean, they actually didn't, because he didn't blow any saves. And since we can, we may as well talk about everybody who had spent time on the big league squad. So starting with Ottavino. Obviously had the big regression being 37. I thought he pitched more than this, but he had a couple saves himself, 13 holds, 186 ERA, pretty good. But maybe the most shocking thing, most impressive thing, I guess he had a good walks per 9 rating to begin with, but he only had 2 walks on the season. I always think of Ottavino as just kind of being wild, and he had a .4 wins above replacement. I mean, he was on the team throughout the whole regular season, so that's why I thought he pitched more than that. It wasn't until the NLCS that he got booted down to the minors. Drew Smith spent some time up in the bigs, only pitched 14 2/3, and not a very good 14 2/3. 5.52 ERA. -0.3 WAR. That whip was up over 2. That's why we made so many moves to the bullpen, because we had guys like him. We had guys like Dennis Santana, who pitched 9 2/3, blew 2 saves without even picking up one of them. 5.59 ERA on him. WAR stayed even, but that's probably just because he didn't pitch a ton. And oh man, can you even remember this far back? We had Steven Nagasic. A 54 overall. He was less. He was like a 50 overall. He pitched 8 innings for us near the start. A 3.38 ERA though for a 50 overall is not terrible. He did manage to rack up -0.2 wins above replacement, but yeah, he was obviously the first one gone once we made a move. And then we can't not talk about David Robertson. He got all the way down to a 66 overall, so it was the right call to get rid of him when we did, because I obviously wouldn't have used that. He probably wouldn't have even made the postseason roster at a 66 overall, but he held down the fort. A perfect 19 for 19 in his save opportunities before Diaz got here. Only gave up 12 hits in 22 innings, only 7 walks, 25 punch outs, a 2.42 ERA, only .2 WAR, which I find kind of low. Guess it was the homers he allowed. Only 6 runs allowed, but 4 homers. So I think that's everybody and everything that we need to talk about before we officially wrap this one up. So once again, I want to thank you guys for watching this 6-episode series of this Mets March to October. This was me trying something pretty different. I mean, I had not really posted many super long videos, and even when I did, it wasn't by design. It was kind of by accident. So to intentionally post videos over an hour long was very new. I don't know how successful it was, if I'm being honest, but it is kind of fun, and we're gonna keep it going. I have more real-life disappointing teams that I want to play through a March to October with, and for those of you that have made it this deep into the episode, here's your reward for making it, because I'll just tell you straight up who the next team is going to be. So starting next week, our next March to October, and the next disappointing team we'll be giving a second chance is going to be none other than the Los Angeles Angels. I mean, it has to be. So make sure, if you want to see Trout and Ohtani get the playoff run they deserve, at least hopefully, make sure you come back and stick around for that one. But for now, that is going to do it for the Mets March to October. Obviously, hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe to the channel if you're not already. But again, thanks for watching, not just today, but this whole 6-episode series, and I will see you next time.